Yo, it's your man Chucky D. Quick episode of Game for Free. Finna dive in on this post from Digital Perspectives. He's giving some game on, found a little post on Ripple, talking about the AWS, how they've been building in the sandbox for years, and Ripple, they're changing the game, man, with XRP and the CBDCs, these central bank digital currencies. We're just going to go ahead and dive on in and check this out.
Cloud was front and center. We've been deploying nodes on AWS for years internally within Ripple. So when we decided to create the CBDC ledger, we've deployed it through a sandbox on AWS as we sort of roll out projects with central banks. I think most of them will want a cloud infrastructure. There may be some for regulatory purpose that need to do an on-premise implementation, but I think certainly at this stage of pilots and proof of concepts and early implementations, people see the benefit of a cloud-based structure. In fact, we will be using the CBDC ledger on the cloud as part of this CBDC Innovate program that I mentioned previously. My prediction is that pretty much every country that has a central bank will eventually issue a digital version of their currency.
So do I, James. Would you say, at least in the next decade, you think that a certain percentage will be moving this way? Regulations are just always so interesting, depending on what market you're referring to. But it looks like most governments and central banks seem to be quite open about digital currencies. So do you see this potentially happening in the next 10 to 15 years? That, most governments will, or central banks at least, will be more or be adapting to CBDC?
I'm always very optimistic, and I think the leading countries that are furthest along, I think it will be in the 2 to 5 year period. China is very advanced on digital currency, although it's not really blockchain based. It's much more of a centralized system.
Right.
There've been some notable pilots around early programs like in the Bahamas. So I think we're seeing now the market on the whole going from like research into like pilots, right? I think the pilots is the name of the game for the next couple of years. And then I think that will then start to go into early stage implementations. I think the implementations will probably all start with 1 or 2 specific use cases and will be relatively limited. But I think certainly by 10 years from now, I think it'll be just pervasive and people won't even be thinking about the conversations we're having now, right? It'll just be everyone has it and they'll be using it. At a broader level as a company, we're always innovating and we're expanding our offerings. So we have RippleNet, we have some offerings around liquidity management, and now central bank digital currencies. The journey will continue to be financially based and payments sort of centered, but I can see other add-ons, if you like, over the coming years. I mean, in my particular area, one of the countries that we're working with is already thinking about DeFi using CBDC.